else. So, yes. And there's also something powerful about saying their name, like to say Harry, because after a while, you start to go like, this life I had, it did exist, right? Like Harry and I did do these things. We enjoyed this, but since they're no longer here and life keeps going, you have to work really hard to keep those memories alive, to say their name, to bring them into the conversation. I remember on the 1 year anniversary of Mark's death, and my brain stopped being so cloudy or foggy that I started asking people, what happened in your world the day Mark died? And they were, because I was just laser focused on what happened to me and my children, but our family and friends, it impacted them too. And they welcomed the idea that I asked that question, and it allowed them to share their Mark story. The people that literally left their home in Pennsylvania to meet me in Delaware to pick up Mark's car told me that they were at a birthday party for a family member. And when I called to ask them, well, I called to tell them Mark died and could they come pick up his car? And they then relayed that to the family where they were at, and they'd all knew us. I would have never known that if I didn't ask them that question, because they weren't going to burden me with
Right.
what may have appeared to be trivial compared to me, the death of my husband. But they told me how they all were devastated at that moment. They were praying for me. And then they left that party to come to Delaware to pick up the car and come back. So, yeah, hysterical, crazy, all of that, because it's too much for the mind to just really absorb. And then how do we unpack that, and being able to say Harry's name out loud, to have those stories with friends, and to talk about Mark is very powerful in the respecting of that healing and what that grief looks like, because there is a lot to learn. There were relationships that became closer in the absence of Mark and that grief because I allowed them in to help.